Hello and welcome back to RBY Pokemon Challenges. My name is Teo and we are continuing the Misty Minimum Battles series. We're in the final legs of this challenge. I think we're going to finish by the end of next week. And that's a good thing because Misty really hasn't been a challenge for most of these Pokemon. I really only chose Misty as a goalpost in this challenge because she is a required gym leader. We can't actually beat the game without fighting Misty first. But it's turned out to be something that wasn't that hard to do. I expected that a lot of these Pokemon would struggle against Misty. Like, I watched Scott's Thoughts video when he was doing his challenge run of Kabuto versus Ammonite, and how much he struggled with Ammonite against Misty, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna really have to grind and maybe take 20 attempts to try to get through. No, we got through with Ammonite using Bide. It was a piece of cake. And most other Pokemon have just sailed through. So we're going to get back to a challenge very soon. And I talked about this last week. But we are going to go from Misty next to Rival 5. And hopefully fighting Rival 5 is going to be much more of an interesting challenge. I have to still think about the rules. How are we going to do the rare candies? Are we going to use double team? In what cases will we use those? If you have ideas about that, drop them in the comments down below, because this is where the challenge is really going to ramp up. But with that being said, let's get into today's challenge. So, just a reminder, we release videos every week. This channel's been growing a lot. We've gotten a ton of views the last week or so, and a bunch of new subscribers. I'm really stoked about that. I hope that we can keep the channel growing, and especially after we get past this Misty section and we get to the Rival 5 section, that's going to be a lot more interesting. I hope that you will share this with your friends, subscribe, like, and keep coming back for the videos every week. Now let's look at our rules here. We are doing a minimum battles run, which means that we can only fight required trainers. We cannot fight extra battles just to grind up our level to get through. Any Pokemon can get through the game on Max DVs if we're using items and we're grinding for levels. I promise you, I've done it with a Weedle. Now, what we can do in this section is we can get our Mega Punch TM, our Water Gun TM, Thunder Wave, Dig, HM1, 2 rare candies, but we cannot get some very useful TMs. We cannot get Body Slam. It's behind an optional trainer. We cannot get Seismic Toss just yet. It's going to be blocked by a tree that we'll have to cut down after we beat Misty. And TM44 for Rest. That's kind of a solo challenge, basic, everybody uses TM, but we don't get that. Because, again, we have to fight optional trainers to get that TM. So, Pokemon are going to have to rely on their movesets and strategies in order to get through. So far in this challenge, as I kind of alluded to before, it really hasn't been a challenge. Last week, we took 5 Pokemon that were easy shoo-ins to get through. The electric and grass types, come on. But even the fire types, the ground types, the Pokemon that have terrible movesets like Exeggutor have been able to get through Misty without a whole lot of challenge. We only have a few Pokemon left, but we'll have to see if any of them have any sort of struggle. Today, I've chosen 5 Pokemon that I think could at least make these runs a little interesting. We have Rapidash, Pidgeot, Primeape, Venomoth, and last but not least, Poliwrath. I've chosen these Pokemon because out of our remaining Pokemon, I think they're probably going to be the most interesting, even if they are not necessarily struggling. But with that being said, let's just get into these runs today. So, off to our first run, we've got Pidgeot. And Pidgeot is going to be interesting in the sense that it does not have a really great moveset. It's not going to really learn any useful TMs here. But what it does have going for it is Sand Attack. And if we can lower accuracy against Misty, that may be enough in and of itself to get through. So we've just got Quick Attack, Gust, and Sand Attack. Let's see how these go. So we're just going to start off by breaking through all of these trainers in the route to Mount Moon. They should be no challenge whatsoever. And let's just get through that. And next, let's go ahead and crush these Pokemon too. So every time we're just trying to get through this section as quickly as possible. We really don't want to dilly-dally here. So there's not really any point of using Sand Attack or anything. Just take them out. And let's heal very quickly. And Mount Moon's going to be fairly quick. There are only 2 trainers to fight in Mount Moon. Oop, we did not mean to use Sand Attack against that Zubat. But whatever. And yes, it's going to be very nice when we can just buy repels and go through some of these routes without having to fight every single Zubat in the world. Like, how many Zubats are there in Mount Moon? Seriously. Like, if I were a speedrunner, I'd be ripping my hair out right now. But, like, Zubat really likes Pidgeot. Okay, there's a Geodude. And back to Zubat. And let's fight our super nerd here at the end of Mount Moon. And these should be fairly easy battles. There we go. Let's fight Team Rocket. Did not mean to use Sand Attack on Meowth, but it doesn't hurt. And there we go. We are already through. Now, we probably don't need the Great Ball. We're probably just going to learn Fly with Pidgeot. I mean, Pidgeot does not have a great moveset, so Fly will be one of our strongest flying type moves, so we'll probably just use it. Let's get to Misty's gym and let's try our luck against these trainers. Now, Goldeen goes down easily. I'm not going to go out and heal. I'm just going to use a potion. And let's fight Misty herself. So I think Sand Attack to start is definitely the play. And then I think we can just Quick Attack. And I think here as well against Starmie, Sand Attack is probably the play. And now I think that we're just trying to take her out. Okay, we got taken out on that one. Let's try another one. Because it's also possible that Sand Attacking against the Staryu is not really the best play. So now that we've lowered her defense, or her accuracy, there we go. Get through. Not too difficult. I mean, we probably just wasted too much time against Staryu, where we could just go straight to Starmie and then start using our Sand Attacks. But Pidgeot gets through. Not really a challenge, guys. So let's move to the Pokemon that I think could have a challenge, and that is Rapidash. Now, Rapidash is kind of cool because it is a very fast Pokemon, which means it is going to get a lot of critical hits base. And it does have a kind of cool moveset where it has Stomp and it has Ember at this point. And if we are able to get flinches with Stomp, for example, that could be kind of cool. But we're not really going to get any TMs in this section. So let's see how this goes. Okay. So far, so good. I think Stomp could be better in some of these spots. Like, I kind of like the idea of this, like, fire horse stomping on other Pokemon. Like, it's kind of hilarious to think about. But there we go. We are through all the trainers in this route. We can heal up, get into Mount Moon, and then go fight our 2 required battles there. And again, there's not really any point in getting the TMs in here because we can't use them. And I don't think we're going to be hurting for money so much late in the game that we really need all these TMs to sell for money. So I basically just skip them if I don't need them. If we get really desperate for money late in the game, we could always come back and pick up everything and sell it. Okay, let's go ahead and get past this Rocket Grunt and continue on. See, Rapidash does not attract nearly as many Zubats as Pidgeot does. Wonder why that is. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of stomp our way through these Pokemon. Perfect. And let's go fight Team Rocket. So, got a flinch there, which is pretty cool. And perfect. We are through that section. Now with Rapidash, we absolutely do need the Great Ball here because we are going to have to catch a flying type late in the game in order to be able to use Fly. So we basically just get the free Great Ball there and the free Great Ball on the SS Sand, and that will allow us to catch our flying type later. So let's try the battle against the Junior Trainer here and see how this goes. Now, the Junior Trainer does not have any water type moves, so that does make this significantly easier. Misty will use water type moves basically every turn, so let's see how we do. I did not mean to use Tail Whip, but we can see that we got taken out pretty quick by Misty there. And this was the same with most of our fire-type Pokemon, so I'm not too worried about that just yet. Let's go ahead and fight Rival 5, or Rival 2, well, not Rival 5. I'm already ready for Rival 5, guys. I'm so ready to be done with this section of the challenge and get to something that's a little more interesting. But, so, we easily take out Rival 2. I think we're going to get through all these Nugget Bridge trainers without too much difficulty as well. Like, these are really just use Stomp. That is the strategy, guys. Use Stomp. I mean, we can use Ember too. I guess Ember might even be better in some cases, because like if Pokemon have low special, we should just use Ember and get through them that way. There we go. And we can pick up our little Charmander. Hey. Charmander is going to be used in order to just get dig and cut, basically. So here against Onix, we are at a much higher level, so every fire type doesn't really struggle against that Onix. They just use Ember. And we can fight these last couple trainers on this route. And I mean, we're already at level 20, guys. So we're already like much higher level than we were before. And a lot of these are turning into one-shots. So let's go ahead and save Bill from himself and his Pokemon addiction. There we go. We get the SS ticket. We can run back down to Cerulean. And let's go ahead and fight this Rocket Grunt. There we go. We get through him. We level up to level 21. We are now on the same level as Misty's Ace Starmie. Let's see if that's made any difference to our ability to get through. So, first things first, Stomp. And we just completely wrecked the Staryu And then we saw with a flinch and then just 2 more stomps, we got through Starmie with no problems. Still on minimum battles, guys. no rare candies, no bide, nothing. And Rapidash gets through. Let's try the next Pokemon. So now that Rapidash has shown that it can beat Misty, I think it's time for Primeape to take its turn. And Primeape is kind of a cool Pokemon. Like, when I was younger, I always thought the fighting types were just terrible. I alluded to this in, I think, 2 or 3 episodes ago. But basically, I thought because Psychic was everywhere, you know, you had to fight Sabrina, you had to fight Agatha. You know, Ghost types could just completely ignore the fighting type moves. Like, I had this bias that fighting types were just terrible as a kid. I mean, you had the situation in Saffron City where you've got the fighting dojo next door to Sabrina's gym, and the whole story is that Sabrina basically wrecked the fighting dojo, and so they lost their status as a gym because they were completely just mopped. You know, Sabrina just mopped the floor with them, with her psychic types. And it kind of set this idea that fighting types were not very good. It's really in later generations that fighting types became, you know, a huge part of the metagame of Pokemon, because, you know, it basically started when they added Cross Chop to Machamp. But I never realized that a Pokemon like Primeape gets this incredible moveset. Like, when you look at it, it's going to learn ground type moves, it's going to learn fighting type moves, of course, but it's also going to get moves like Rock Slide. It's going to get really strong normal type moves in Mega Punch and Mega Kick. Like, this is actually a pretty legit Pokemon. And, you know, it learns Thunderbolt, guys. Like, you have a lightning monkey in Generation 1. Who would have thought? So we're going to go ahead and learn Mega Punch over Scratch, just because it's a much stronger move, and I think it could be useful. Granted, Karate Chop is probably the main play here, because Karate Chop is pretty close to being a guaranteed critical hit. So unless there's a reason to use Low Kick or Mega Punch, Karate Chop is basically the play. So there we go. We're through the Super Nerd. We get the Helix Fossil, of course. Every time we take the Helix Fossil, because it's in front of us, and I don't want to waste time. So there we go. Get through Team Rocket, no problem. And now one issue that we're going to have with Primeape is that it doesn't level up very quickly. So I believe it's part of the medium fast level up group, but that actually means that it's super slow at this section of the game. So we'll just have to see how that goes here. But we get through the junior trainer with no issues. Let's try our hand at Misty. And X defense will mean basically nothing when we're getting critical hits. So she uses X defense and Harden. If she just uses Bubble Beam against us every single turn, she's probably taking us out. But because she doesn't, Primeape at level 17 is another Pokemon through Misty. Done and done, guys. And I'm getting so fast at these runs. Let's move on to Venomoth and see how this goes. Like, it's pretty incredible to see. Like, the first set of runs that I did, I wasn't using Pokemon that were that bad. I've got to see which one did I do in episode 1. But even in episode 2, when I was using like Gengar and Hypno and Mr. Mime, which were not difficult runs, guys, it took me more time than it's taking me with these Pokemon to get through, and that was just because of experience. I just wasn't as good at the routing. I wasn't, you know, as efficient with where to save and where to plop down my quick saves, basically. And now that I've gotten that dialed in, like, I can run through most Pokemon get through Misty in a couple of minutes, really. And the Pokemon that have to do a little bit extra might take just a bit more than that, but really not much. So that is kind of impressive to see, and I think our times on these videos are just going to get faster and faster as I get better at going through. Like, I would expect in the next section against Rival 5, the first 10 runs are going to be much slower, and then after we get through the first 10 runs and I get a little more experience about exactly where to go and exactly what I want to do with each Pokemon, we're very likely going to see the speed increase and the times on the videos drop. So if you see these videos and you kind of feel like, hey, these are super long, Teo, what's going on? Just bear with me. I promise we'll get there. We'll get there. So Venomoth is already at the end of Mount Moon, and it's just going to absolutely crush these poison types because it can't be poisoned and it's got confusion. So let's just let it do its thing. And there we go. Through Mount Moon with basically no troubles. So now it is time to go to Misty's gym. Let's try it right away and see how this goes. So we're just going to start by spamming Confusion against this very weak Goldeen. We're just going to heal with a potion, and now let's try Misty. Let's see how this goes. So we're definitely spamming Confusion against the Staryu. And now we can see that Confusion, of course, doesn't do a lot to Starmie because Starmie is a psychic type. So we could sit here and grind against her, but we can fight some other battles on minimum battles. So let's get some of these out of the way. Rival 2 is the obvious starting point. And we're just gonna run through his team as quickly as possible. Okay, and we get through. So now let's try a couple of these Nugget Bridge trainers. Like, the real point here is that Venomoth, it doesn't actually have great stats. It's basically just a glorified Butterfree with poison typing. And it's kind of interesting that it's basically like a psychic Pokemon, even though it's poison type. And in this generation, or in this version of the game, I should say, in Yellow, they changed Koga so that he uses the Venomoth line. So 3 Venonats and then a Venomoth. And so he basically becomes a second psychic type trainer. Or second psychic type gym leader in this version of the game. And I assume that they did that to try to make the game more difficult, because with his original team of Wheezing, 2 Coughings, and Muck, you just get a Kadabra and you just completely wreck his team. Whereas here we actually might run into more challenges with Pokemon that can't resist psychic type moves. But that's coming really in the next section of the game, because we can fight Koga before Rival 5 if necessary. Okay, we get through these trainers in fairly quick succession here. And this is going to be just like Rapidash, I think. We're going to be at level 21 after this fight. Oh, not quite. Level 20. We level up just a little bit slower. So let's go ahead and save Bill once again. I don't understand why a teleporter would cause him to mix with a Pokemon, but, you know, that is what it is. And let's go ahead and fight. This Drowsy could be a challenge, so let's pop down a quick save first. And we don't want to be using Confusion there. Okay. So we're level 21, and we can take a second shot at Misty. Let's see how this goes. So, save right there. And Misty, let's go. Okay, we get through Staryu with basically no troubles. And we get through Misty with basically no troubles. Now we're going to forget Disable and learn Poison Powder, because Disable is basically worthless in this version of the game. I've discussed it before, but Disable really never helps us. But there we have it. We have yet another Pokemon through Misty with very little challenge. So it's time to get to our very last Pokemon for today. Our kind of ace for the day, which is Poliwrath. Now I think Poliwrath has gotten a lot more respect in later generations. When you get to Gen 2, for example, Gen 3, Gen 4, it's really started to become a Pokemon that I think people see as a strong Pokemon. But in this generation, I mean, just getting a Poliwag came so late in the game. And then, you know, you have to evolve it into a Poliwhirl. In the original Red and Blue version, I was only getting a Poliwhirl so that I could trade it for a Jinx. But then, you know, it wasn't really a Pokemon that stood out. Yet again, it adds the fighting type, and I always thought that the fighting type was terrible. But when we look at the moveset that this Pokemon's gonna get late in the game, like, Poliwrath is a legitimate threat to beat the entire game, because it's gonna learn tons of amazing moves. Like, it's already got Body Slam, and it's one of the few Pokemon that we're gonna have that's gonna be able to have Body Slam, together with Pokemon like Lapras and Pokemon like Nidoqueen. But on top of that, it's gonna be able to learn water type moves like Water Gun, which we are gonna pick up right here. And it already knows Water Gun, so we don't actually need that, sorry. And it's going to be able to learn moves like Blizzard, Ice Beam. It gets Psychic, guys. Like, it's just got so many tools in its toolbox. Plus, it's got the fighting type moves, the ability to learn Dig. Like, this could be a really legitimate Pokemon. Or, sorry, not Dig, the ability to learn Earthquake. So, let's pick up Mega Punch, and I'm actually going to learn Mega Punch here because Double Slap is kind of worthless. And it's not that we'll really need Mega Punch. Like, we probably can just use Body Slam in every case, and it will be the better move. But we do get a little extra PP. Oh, there we go. So we can just get on through. And of course, Bubble Beam will be useful once we get it, because it's just a stronger water type move. But in this section, I think the play is just Body Slam. Just against everything, Body Slam over and over again. So, when in doubt, just use Body Slam, guys. Oops, I did not mean to use Hypnosis. Okay. And, I mean, we're spreading paralysis on these Pokemon. Like, this is awesome. So, let's pick up our Great Ball, because we will need it later in the run. And let's not faint before we get to Misty's gym. And let's start off against Goldeen, where the play is Body Slam. We get through, and to Misty now. Body Slam, Body Slam, Body Slam, We paralyzed her Starmie. We're taking no damage. And there we are. We're through Misty with Poliwrath. And I think Poliwrath is going to be so cool to play. So, there we have it, guys. 5 more Pokemon. Beat Misty. It doesn't even take that long. Like, what, we're maybe 30 minutes in to beat her with 5 Pokemon plus my rambling introduction. We're just absolutely crushing this game. So after this, we have 2 more episodes coming. I'm gonna try to get them out next week, and then we're going to be on to the next section of the challenge. Whoa. So make sure that you like and subscribe, comment. I haven't decided the order of the Pokemon for the Rival 5 challenge. I'm debating about that. One thing that I want to avoid is the situation where we run to Rival 5 with a unevolved form and we beat him, and then we know already that the evolved forms can get through. So, like, not saying this will happen, but imagine if Bulbasaur beats Rival 5. Well, then the Ivysaur and Venusaur runs aren't that interesting to release after because we already know Bulbasaur did it. So it may be a situation where I do them in reverse order, where we take Venusaur first, then Ivysaur, then Bulbasaur. And it will just be to see if the fully evolved form can get through, then maybe we release the next video that has the less evolved form to see if it also can get through. We could also do something where we just randomize and use your guys' comments in order to decide which Pokemon to use. What do you think? Drop a comment down below and let me know how you want those runs to go. I can really go either way. One other thing that I want your guys' feedback on is Double Team. Because we can get Double Team as soon as we reach Celadon City. And Double Team, it causes the badge boost glitch. Of course, it lowers the accuracy of the opponent. It can make some runs that are absolutely impossible possible, but in a very luck-based way. On the other hand, the whole spirit of this challenge is about just seeing what is possible. So when we were fighting against Brock, we were trying various strategies to see what would work, what could get us through. And it might just be worth putting an asterisk next to the Pokemon saying it had to use Double Team in order to get through. My current idea is that we will hold off on rare candies or Double Team until we have basically exhausted all other options. We've gone down and tried to fight Koga. We've maybe even gone to Cinnabar Island and fought Blaine, and we still can't get through Rival 5. That could be the point where Double Team becomes part of our strategy. Or if we hit a complete roadblock, we can't beat Koga, we can't beat Rival 5, we've used our rare candies, that could be a spot to think about using Double Team as well. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. What strategy do you think we should use? I look forward to hearing your guys' feedback and see you next week on the channel. 2 more episodes of Misty, and then it's on to Rival 5. Let's do it, guys. Thank you very much. Once again, this is RBY Pokemon Challenges. I've been Teo. I'm going to send you guys out with just a little bit of music. Have a great day.